money, mate.
I will say this about investment.
Hello, Ed Kavalee here. Sneaking into the Equity Mates feed to tell you about a crypto coin I've got, which is available. No, it's time for Is There Any Money in myself, Ed Kavalee, and your Equity Mates that you're used to speaking to. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Ed.
Ed,
Oh, how did last time go? I'm not privy to the figures. How did our last series of Is There Any Money-ins go?
Shot the lights out.
What?
yeah, good stuff.
We've had
Whoa.
great feedback. In fact, someone we were speaking to yesterday said they thoroughly enjoyed listening.
What type of person?
High-flying.
A financial advisor to the high net wealths of Sydney.
You're kidding me.
Yeah,
No.
we cover a broad demographic here.
Wow, you're really slumming it today with me. Well, that is good to hear, and I'm glad that they are on board. Now, we've got a fair few that we're going to lay on you over the next few weeks. And so whom is going first?
I'm going to kick it off, Ed.
With?
Is there money in racehorses?
This is a great one. Now, this is, of course, also was suggested in some of the comments. People just started suggesting things that they wanted.
It took the world by storm.
We didn't ask for that, but this is one that we took a prompt on that we all said, yep, okay, is there any money in racehorses? I was thinking about this the other day when I was listening. I think we should set a baseline of what we think
Yeah, I
if
was
you're not
gonna
the
ask
presenter.
that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So out of 10 being yes, there's heaps of money in it, and 1 being there's no money in it at all.
Yes.
I would like to start with a 3. I think that at the very, very pointy end, there's your Bart Cummingses, and then everywhere else is people who played 3 games of representative football who are in a syndicate with their mates, and they get an email saying, unfortunately,
Wait.
Lucky Boy has had to be put down.
Yeah.
Wait till I give you the stats on syndicates in Australia. though.
All right,
Oh,
that's great.
great. I'm glad
Okay,
you
so that's
got
me. I'm a threat.
Look, my gut is the same. Like a 1 on
One?
average. Yeah.
One?
No.
Almost no money.
Oh, no.
Hold on. I think the average might be a 3 or 4, but the median is like a 1.
Well,
if that makes sense.
God,
'Cause,
that's,
like,
God,
What's
that's
a 3 or 4?
Yeah, exactly. What's a 3 or 4?
What's a 10?
a 10 is like Taylor Swift breaking the internet with a tour.
We're going to need a horse. Yeah, give me a horse.
Like a horse that got 10, like Maccabi Diva.
Thank you. A relative bargain horse who won it all and had Jarrett Waitley, quote, be inside it for a while, to quote, write a book. Do you know when Jarrett Waitley's at his happiest? When he's inside a racehorse. Those are his words. Your Honour.
All right, well, moving on, Bryce. Is there money in racehorses?
Well, I'm glad you've all given me that baseline, because I've got the stats and the figures here to put a bit of colour to it.
God.
Now, let's just start with a few interesting facts that I came across in preparation for this episode. Number 1, Australians love horse racing.
Yeah, big time.
We know that.
You betcha.
Number 2, the first official race meeting was staged in Sydney's Hyde Park in 1810, 22 years after the arrival of the first fleet.
And what style of horses were they? Were they just army cavalry horses that they went, geez, that one's got some toe about it? Or were they already being bred for such an occasion?
Great question.
Or you don't?
I
know.
don't have the
No, that's
answer.
fair enough too. That is not. I knew I'd do something like that. I wonder. We're not far from Hyde Park now.
No.
I wonder if there is because Hyde Park hasn't changed very much since that time, and so I'm wondering if there is a outline of.
I feel like it's changed a fair bit.
Do you?
Yeah, well, you reckon?
No. If you do the old Forgotten Sydney Instagram page like I do, and Retro Sydney, the shape of Hyde Park hasn't changed. I see what you're saying. It was much bigger and the boundaries have been brought in.
Yeah.
I accept that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
roads and fountains.
Yeah. Roads and fountains. Progress, baby.
Anyway, so first one, 1810. Compare that to now, where we see almost 20,000 races conducted across the country in 1 year.
Wow.
Stop.
20,000.
That's across
Yeah.
Group 1, Group 2. Does that include harness racing?
No, this is just
Just racing?
thoroughbred, yeah.
20,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll get to some stats around that in a moment. We hold the second largest number of races per annum in the world, just outside of
Hong Kong?
No, the US.
Yeah, Hong Kong's
Yeah.
too small, but they love it over there.
But man, they bang them out.
Yeah. And we allocate.
Although I think they're just, this is a complete side note, but I think they're
They
getting
are.
rid of the racetrack.
Is that in Singapore or Hong Kong? I can't remember because I read this the other day.
They're building more apartments or
They
something
are.
in one of those
Might be.
countries,
We'll
yeah.
look that up because I've
Yeah.
been to the track in Hong Kong, the one that was in sort of in the city, basically, and it's quite incredible. But I can't remember which one it is. But there is one that's just got knocked down for those reasons.
Wow. And we
Bryce
allocate.
just wants to move on.
we allocate the
It's going to be
third.
Bryce. There's going to be a lot of that.
Allocate the third most prize money in the world outside of the US. And who do you think the
Dubai.
second is? No, Japan.
Oh, I suck at
Yeah.
this.
And then
Ed obviously hasn't been studying.
to close
No.
out fun facts, the Melbourne Cup, Australia's most prestigious
Yeah.
horse race, has the total value in trophies that they give for the Group 1 winner is $250,000 in trophies. And the trophy is worth something like 125K plus for the winning jockey. The trainer gets one, the strapper gets one, and the breeder gets
Oh, the
one.
strapper gets one. You know, it's really. And when you're in radio every year, the Melbourne Cup does the rounds, and it'll do like a national tour, and you've got it, and they always do the same stupid thing. You go to grab it, and someone says no, and unless you've won it, you're not allowed to touch it without a glove. It's tedium,
Oh my
and you're like,
God.
you're gonna let a horse lick this, yeah? Anyway,
Wow. Now, to understand if there's money in racehorsing, we obviously need to understand the costs of owning a racehorse.
This
Now,
is
sorry,
it.
just before we get to that, Ed, you were right. It was Singapore. I've just been doing some due
No,
diligence.
no worries. That is because one of my big things in life.
That have ditched the racetrack.
Yeah.
One of my big things is close the racetracks, close the golf courses.
No.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of my
courses.
big ones.
Why is that something you're so passionate about?
Okay, so how many you don't need, so take it as per amount of humans using it in the time that it's being used
I do often think this.
and
Yeah,
in the
it's-
place that it's in versus usage that could be used for. And there is zero argument that can be made. Singapore's pretty, you can't really argue that Singapore hasn't been a success post-war, can you? In terms of the way it's been run, post Second World War, it's like always wins like best run joint. It always wins that.
Clean,
It's always
safe,
winning
yeah,
awards. Best run joint. I know that's on the official title, but they've now gone. All right, you know what? There is probably 20,000 races you lot could bet on in Australia if you want. These are houses. We need to do that here. Ramwick. Why is Ramwick there?
You really.
So you'd be on the Moore Park demolition.
Look, if the good people at racing want me to be an ambassador, I'm happy to change my ideas very swiftly.
Ed, we're a finance podcast. The golf and finance demographic overlap a lot.
Sorry, everyone who's on the links right now. I couldn't agree with you more.
All right, Bryce, you were going to say, how much does a horse cost?
Yes. So there's two ways you can own a racehorse. First is outright.
Whoa.
Yeah, big money.
Whoa. That's the Queen does that.
The Queen does
and
that,
And
yeah.
Godolphin. Those
Yes.
are your two.
Big money. The second is through a syndicate, which you spoke about at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Did you know research shows that 1 in every 254 Australians own a racehorse through a syndicate?
No way.
That is one of the great statistics.
Yeah.
1 in every 254.
You know how you can tell who they are?
Syndicates everywhere,
Kids
apparently.
included?
And it's because... hey, stop asking me
Let's
more
go
detailed
adults.
questions on
Let's
my
go
research.
Let's go those available to take part.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, caveat,
Still.
just trust the facts.
No, I'm into it. I'm into the facts.
No, 254 Australians. I found that crazy.
That's wonderful.
The reason is, though, is because
It's in our super funds.
not bad. The reason is it's because the average shares per horse are 2.5%.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it's tiny syndicates,
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
normally get 20, 40, 50 people owning
Yeah,
a racehorse
okay.
because it's offered in 2.5 increments.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that doesn't make it any less astounding for me that 1 in every 250 Australians.
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, I told you, the first stat I said, Australians love horse racing.
They sure do.
Anyway, so let's then break down generally how much it costs to buy a horse. I went on to one of the largest auction houses for a horse. You can pick up a really, really average racehorse for $500
Outright.
outright. Really,
And what's
really
it running?
average.
What's it running in?
It's not running in anything. It's like a.
Is
you
that
can,
then a racehorse?
well, you got to then go and train it.
Oh, so
do
is
all
this
the jazz.
is this a young horse or
Yeah,
is this
a young horse?
under 1 year old?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can go right now. We three could go 500. We get to name it.
Yes, there are conditions around naming as well.
Yeah, that's right. There is. Yeah,
Yeah,
no filth.
yes.
No filth, no proper nouns, isn't it?
And
No company names.
And there can't be anything similar to it in the last 17
yes,
years.
and they have a register where they go through and they go, sorry, Reinhardt's baggage ran in the Gold Coast in 2001. You can't call it that.
right.
And you got to keep changing it until you find one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're just like paddock bashers, really.
But why would I do that?
Why would you do what? I think people just like, I don't know. I think it's the enjoyment of.
I mean,
Is it
get
racing?
you get it running at like a dirt track somewhere, and you all take your mates out there. And you
Okay. Yeah, he's running, and oh dear, that wasn't okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
The
yeah.
real money kicks in though when you start buying horses that are bred to race. So a yearling, which is sub 1 years
Yes.
old, they're from 50,000 up to 250 grand, and then the 2 year olds is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Then you've got your established horses. Now 250 feels like the mark in which you're going to have to fork out a minimum for 2 years plus for a good quality
And
horse.
that doesn't include housing, training, does it? That's
No.
purchase price. That's
Yeah.
not holding costs
Yeah.
or running costs.
Well, the running costs were less than I thought they would be. On average, upkeep for a horse is about $40,000 to $50,000 a year.
What do you mean? That's what?
Yeah, I don't know. I just for some reason thought it
they
would be
say
way
50
more.
grand for a horse. That's a lot.
It is a
Yeah,
lot. It is,
yeah.
but I don't know why, but I thought it would be.
So they say with a boat,
yeah.
it's 10% of purchase price. Is that for some reason that's the number in my head?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
10%
So
of
I
your
was,
purchase price.
so
for
I
a
was
contract.
kind of thinking that a horse would be in that same ballpark, but it's actually
way more.
What?
Well, then-
20%.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're forking out 20 grand for a horse, you're paying 40 to 50 grand a year for its upkeep.
All right, let's just say, okay, we go 250. We get a horse for 250,
Yeah.
right? That's not going to have any, like, its sire or its mare mother is not going to be a name brand horse, is it?
No way.
Okay, so then
Yeah,
I don't understand the market.
What's Winx's kid going
Well,
for these days?
that's the genuine issue because it's meant to be that those mares, they get the best sire, they get the best mare. This must be, and then they have a foal, and it must be the greatest horse of all time, and they continue to fail. So is it Maccabi Diva? Has had one of them, Maccabi Diva or Winx, has had foals that have sold for a lot of money and haven't gone anywhere.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have I looked this up because it's fascinating. The big money, we'll get to it later where the big money is, but the most expensive horse ever bought was this horse called Fusaichi Pegasus for $70 million in 2000.
Was that a stallion? Is it a race?
It was a racehorse, and
Whoa.
then they
70 mil.
and
Stud farmed it.
Stud farmed it, and all of its babies went for millions and millions, and they were all duds.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's so interesting. It's like Kirk Douglas's kids. You know what I mean? Like it's like all Kirk Douglas's kids
Yeah.
when you have this big superstar and then they have kids who try and go into the business and they
yeah.
suck.
You can't
They-
get it. They
yeah.
can't get it right. But,
Yeah.
but the money that they would have made, so they paid $70 million for it. Then they're like, we are going to stud the nuts off this thing.
Beautiful. Fantastic. What a
They
great
only
life.
made $2 million. It only made $2 million in earnings, and then all of its studs were duds.
Wow, no.
So this poor horse. Anyway, so yeah, look,
Gosh.
horse for 250, ongoing 50K a year, is how much it really costs to own a racehorse, and that ongoing 50 is training, it's feeding, it's the stud, whatever it may be. So call it 300 grand for the first year for a good quality yearling. I'm talking upper end,
Yep.
and then ongoing 50K a year from there.
I mean, so we need to make back in winnings. We have to win 300 grand. We have to win 50 grand a year, but we have to at least win 300 grand to get back to where we started.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem easy.
Well, that moves to how can you make money in owning a horse, in racehorses? And there are three big buckets. There's the owning and the racing, which is if you're a syndicate or a full owner. Then there is the training and jockey services. Like if you want to be in horse races, you're either the jockey or the trainer, decent money in that. And then the third, which is where you really want to be, is actually in the breeding and the sales. That's that is where if we're to buy a horse, we want to own a stud farm.
It kind of feels like a giant pyramid scheme in a way, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But if you're saying the money's in the breeding, it's like you got to convince enough people that there's money in the racing and the syndicate, so you can keep breeding and keep convincing people to buy it.
So where do and is it cost more? Let's just say, okay, I've got a horse. Do the horses? This thing, I know it's gonna be ridiculous, but. Does the horse go and audition for Gai Waterhouse? Like, let's just say I pick up a horse and I think it's good. And I go, hey, Gai, you should train this horse. And he goes, all right, well, do they only train like Godolphin and the Queen? Like the Queen or the royal family, the Queen, more so than Charlotte, she owned a ton of race horses. Even the other day, I think the new king, his horse won at Royal Ascot. So they've still got a ton of racehorses. It does feel like it. I don't know why the other horses were bowing. So do I have to get that? You know what I mean? Like, do I have to do like quite literally a dog and pony show to go? Hey, Gai, we only got this nag. We got this nag for 10 G's, but if you train it, because how much difference? This is going to sound really stupid, but how much of a difference does the trainer make?
Oh, the old nature v nurture debate.
Like
in
in the top echelons. I don't pay attention to horse racing enough, but is it the same like in soccer? Is it just the same clubs/trainers that win every big Group 1 race over and over and over again? Like your Wallers?
I reckon it's a situation of it's just a numbers game. Like the Gai Waterhouse, aren't they just associated with studs? And so they just say, I'm going to be training horses that come out of these studs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
all right. Okay.
and
So you can't audition. You can't, like NIDA, you can't have a great horse that auditions and gets into Gai Waterhouse.
I don't know. But I don't
should
think,
have a feelers out there, sure.
Yeah, I think you just need to get it into the stud. And I think then it's just a numbers game for the stud. Like the statistics coming out of this thing, it's nuts. It's a game of odds. And the stats here are a bit old. They're the best I could find. These are as of 2014. But of 30,000 race starts, 4,200 earned no money. 15,000, so half of them only earned $1,000.
Do you only make money if you place? Is that the idea? First, second, third?
I think it's
in most instances. I don't know.
no, I think it goes further down.
Okay, yeah. So 15,000 out of 30,000 horses made $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 10,200 earned between 10,000 and 100,000.
Ooh.
700 earned 100 to 500,000.
Okay,
and
so now they're starting to make money.
Yeah, and only 50 earned greater than 500,000. But of those 13,000, 18,000 did not win a race at all. So yeah, you must earn money obviously down the line. 7,000 won a race, 3,000 won 2 races, and less than 2,000 won 3 or more.
Wow.
So your odds of not only getting a horse that wins often is low, and the odds of it just generally making enough money in a year is
so
low.
if we set our break even is 300 grand for the first year, what, a couple of thousand horses have done that?
700 only earned over 100,000 out of 30,000.
Okay. How do they keep talking people into this? Honestly, if you are an owner of a racehorse, if you've got an experience, leave us a comment, leave us a message. We might do some DMing back and forth, because over the journey I've had people say, "Hey Ed," mildly, and my response is pretty they get the, they just don't come back to me. But I know lots of footy/media types who have done this a lot, and they've never done shit except one person. Remember when Michelle Payne won the Melbourne Cup? There was a media type who had a small percentage of that. So a lot of people put money on that horse when it won. And that's glory everlasting, which I guess is the dream, is it not? You know that shot of that in the Melbourne Cup when they cut to the owners?
Yeah,
and it's just a bunch of people in suits you don't know jumping up and down?
Yeah.
And there are the owners, and you're like, what am I happy for?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, those people. You know those people?
Yeah,
That's the dream, is to be those people, awkwardly jumping up and down from a low angle at Flemington.
But there's got to be more to it than that. Like there's got to be some like non-financial benefit that you get out of it.
Yeah.
Is it networking?
Everything
maybe
I've read
maybe is it like if you love going to horse racing and then like you get to the owner's box, like you see the owner's box.
All right,
like,
is it that? Yeah,
it's my
yeah.
dream to be that. I'm just speculating.
No,
but-
same here. Yeah.
but, like
I think it's the it's the atmosphere and going to the races. Everything I've read online of people like they make no money, but everyone has such a good experience over the 5 years.
All right. There you go.
Just another excuse to get pissed, really.
Do you know what? I think we've really found it. That is, like so many things, it's just an excuse to get pissed with your friends. Okay. What about in places like the Emirates, like all the Emirates,
the big guys.
Yeah, the Emirates, Tokyo, that type of thing.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Well, there's 72 races in Australia with $1 million or more, and the richest.
Hang on, there's 72 races with $1 million or more.
Yeah.
Now you're being interesting because that.
Yeah.
See, now we both were. Oh, hang on, these maths are starting to. Hang on, but now we got the.
That's great, but of 30,000 race starts, only 50 of them earned.
And the other thing is the problem is the international horses.
Yeah, the big guys that come in.
Yeah, which is why I'm hashtag turn back the horse floats because you.
Not many of them come over though. Apparently, it's actually quite dangerous to fly horses around.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Like I never thought about how they got it over there.
Yeah,
you fly? Not.
Yeah, no, you do.
Boat would take too
you're
long,
not boating.
wouldn't it?
You can't boat.
You need so much hay to get them over.
But what is great footage? What's always great footage? You know the horse harness on the crane or on the helicopter? Normally when they're rescuing them. You know the horse and they're rescuing horses?
Yeah.
The horse harness?
Yeah.
That's great footage.
Okay.
It's like a big
Like a
claw
skill
tester.
test.
Yeah. That's always great footage. That's an aside.
So the richest race in Australia is the Everest. It's actually the richest race in the world.
He loves
15
it.
million in prize money.
Yeah.
But to get into it, and they've just jacked their prices, you have to pay $700,000 to enter.
No way.
What?
Yeah. You have to pay
The odds on that aren't good. Pay 700,000
$700 grand. The winning prize gets just over 6 million if you win it.
Oh, so 15 mil is just the total prize pool.
15 mil is the prize.
Hang on, but if you're bringing it, let's just say you bring a horse from Ireland, you know, there's all the international raiders. If you come for the Everest, you probably do a few other races, yeah?
Definitely.
You're not
just
coming for the Everest and going home.
Yeah,
no.
that horse doesn't
It's
get
a
back
long-
on the plane until it's won at least race 3 at
Yeah, you listen to me. You want to get back on that plane, you got to...
But what's more interesting is that if you pay the $700K, you can then actually trade and sell it. It becomes an asset. The
barrier.
being in the
the
having
drawer.
the barrier. So
Being
you don't-
in the drawer.
Yeah, you don't need a horse. You could go, all right, I've got the 700 grand slot. Now I'm going to go out and find someone in Hong Kong who wants to race their horse and miss the barrier.
Hang on, so we could use it as an investment. We could
trade it up.
speculate
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Everest barriers.
Yes.
So
That's
then,
cool.
then what would drive the price? Like the price would then fluctuate based on your odds of winning. So it's like if the other barriers are owned by good horses,
Injury.
then
True,
the price.
true. Yeah.
But then
Injury
if one
would
of
help
those
you.
good horses sell their spot because of an injury or something,
Yeah.
then
The price goes up.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I bought my house off a jockey.
Okay.
Yeah, had to raise the doors. No,
He probably was speculating on barrier gates and lost it all.
No, I bought my house off a jockey, and not to say that jockeys are dubious morally, but my God, there was a lot of things wrong with that joint. As we pause for effect.
So anyway, is it
Every time I'd
horse
ring him,
racing?
he was, quote, at the track. Sorry, mate, I'm at the track. Okay, well, I'm in the shit house that you sold me with something going wrong.
Here's a fun
We've all
fact.
got our problems, bro.
Why do you think jockeys train their horses so early in the morning?
Jeez, I used to know this. Nah.
I thought it was because of the horses' temperature of
No,
the track, blah, blah, blah. It's actually so that they can go out and race in the afternoon.
That's it. They had guess well done.
Yeah, because
What do you mean? Like
Track
they
work in the
race-
morning.
they do the training
track
in the
work.
morning, and then they got to go race horses at the
Yeah.
all
other
the
horses.
meets. And,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You know,
and meets in the
whenever a
afternoon.
jockey gets suspended, one of my favourite games is how many races is that? So a jockey will get suspended for, some manoeuvre. And I love it on the news. They go, the jockey's been suspended for 2 weeks. That's a 2-week suspension, which means he's going to miss 3,000 races.
literally.
Do you realise how
I mean, they
many
just
rides?
come through.
If you get,
Yeah.
if you start
It's
getting rides, you
it's
just
unbelievable.
non-stop.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, 20,000 races in a year. That blew my mind.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Even that is...
Unbelievable.
But then you add in, we're close to a TAB here. We could walk over there now and we would never have to wait any time of the day more than 8 seconds for a horse race to start.
Have you seen?
There is always a horse racing.
They now have virtual horse racing, but not like the crypto horse racing, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, Tab just make it up or something.
That to me feels sub-pokey.
I think we're the only country in the world that you can bet on a horse, real or virtual, 24 hours a day.
Even Las Vegas.
That's freedom, baby.
Even in Las Vegas.
Maybe.
Because
maybe
they've
Vegas
got the
as
added
well.
one. Well, I was there many years ago, and I was only gambling mildly. And a mate that I was there with goes, "Come here, we'll go to the MGM. They've got this great thing," and they've still got one of the mechanical, old school from the 40s horse racing things, where it's got a program inside. The little mechanical horses running around a little mechanical track that you bet on.
Oh my
And
God.
what each race they like.
It's the
different
maths is slightly
speed?
different, but there was a dude who was there, and that his full-time job, because there's only so many variations, with a book writing down the results of the little mechanical horse race, and his full-time job was just playing money on this little mechanical horse race.
Oh, and he reckoned he figured it
Yeah.
out. Shit.
Wow.
In fact, he was still there, probably told you something.
All right, so look,
Sorry, so
then,
yeah,
is there money in owning a sports book? Yes. So let's not go down that rabbit hole too far.
So to close out the big money races in Australia, we've got the Melbourne Cup, which is 8 million prize pool. Then you've got the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, Golden Slipper, Cox Plate and Caulfield. They're the big ones.
Yeah, your biggins.
But look, the odds of getting not only winning those but getting into those is incredibly low. So then I thought, okay, what about just your average Saturday race?
Great.
In Wagga.
Yeah,
I love
2
it.
In the
p.m.
eastern
Yeah,
states.
yeah.
Just your average
I absolutely
race.
love this. The Jim's mowing stakes.
Not a lot of money. Not a lot of money. If you happen to be in the pool of horses, the 3,000 that win a race out of the 30,000 that start a year, you're looking at about $10,000 to $30,000. Prize pool for that race.
So you're not even getting close to covering your maintenance costs of the horse, let alone your purchase price.
Yes, yeah.
Is there arbitrage in getting a 250 horse and then going reg and just destroying everyone regionally for a year before they cotton on and just sweeping the prize pool? Could we
do
make an
that, yeah.
arbitrage in that?
But surely heaps of people are already trying to do that.
Surely you look at the
aren't they?
maths on that
you're
though
right.
and go, okay, it's 250K. I'm going to have to smash out 25 wins to make
Far
my
out.
to make my money back.
Yeah.
Only 2,000 horses won 3 or more
yeah.
times. Like the odds are just
the numbers
odds are
don't add
just
up.
not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
odds are
yeah,
just
yeah.
not there. I think there is money when I don't know if you're in a syndicate and you are doing a couple. It kind of probably makes sense if you're getting in a syndicate on a horse that's $40,000 or $50,000. If you're not going for the 250,000, I think the 250,000 yearlings are like, I want to be a Melbourne Cup winner.
They're the stats I want. I want stats on, which I bet they don't have because they don't want to give it away. Price to earnings ratio for yearlings over 250. That I bet is not available because they do not want that available.
It's probably not good.
It's terrible. They would not want that out there. Yeah.
So look, owners receive 83% of race prize money. The rest is paid out as incentives to trainers and jockeys and stable hounds and whatnot. There's this thing called a bonus scheme in each state where you're actually paid additional prize money if your horse was raced in the state that they were bred.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
How much extra?
It varies state to state. This is
okay.
the annoying thing about this as well. Every state has different.
Because they're at war.
Racing New South
Yeah,
Wales
yeah,
pays
yeah.
different fees.
Eva
and-
Landis is
They're
another thing.
V'landys versus Victoria versus Queensland. They're at war, big
Exactly.
style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So look, there's money obviously in owning a racehorse if you have a big horse that wins a big race, but the odds are not in your favour if you have a reasonably average horse that's trying to win regional races.
Can I just say at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about my 1 out of 10.
I'd like to revise mine down, please.
The average of all of the horses, as a rule of thumb, they say, when you're looking at these sorts of things, that runs regionally midweek, which is the majority.
Oh my God.
Which is the majority of
midweek's
horses.
never a good phrase.
The average is $5,000.
Far out.
Oh no. This is a glamorous pastime.
Yeah.
That's what we've worked out, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a few
Yeah.
few monstrous key players and the odd Cinderella story. But this is
It's an expensive hobby.
there we go.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
we've landed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they say if you're going to do the maths, you need to earn an average of $10,000 per race
Jesus.
Wow.
to sort of double your investment or
to double,
your investment. So I'd say then the 5,000 average is probably you make your money back.
Let's go back to that 1 in 250 Australians have a syndicate. I don't know if I'll ever recover from that. Just so you can get pissed, come up with a funny name.
Yeah.
But think about that, 20,000.
Hang out with your mates.
And then,
20,000 races a year and 8 to 10 horses a race?
Yeah. Well, the big one's 22, but that's Group 1 biggest distance races because they've got enough time for the track to even out sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking over 200,000 race horses active over a year.
Yeah, some of those horses would repeat.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot of
syndicates.
Okay.
Anyway, so the second bucket is there money in racehorses?
Sorry, I just got to put some bets on.
Yes, there's money in gambling. Let that be known.
Yeah,
let that be
Sorry,
known.
I've just got to put on a quaddie in Singapore.
So I'm going to whip through this next one because there's money in obviously training and racing services. The average national salary for a jockey is $80,000.
That's not bad.
Yes.
Sorry, but that is not bad. And they'd love it. No one's jockeying right now because it was something they fell into.
Agreed.
Everyone who's doing jockeying is mad for jockeying.
Yeah.
Billy Slater, of course, Queensland legend in rugby league, wanted to be a jockey, but was too big.
Really?
Yeah, still talks about it.
Wow. Well, he's had an equally successful career elsewhere.
So far, so good.
He's made more than $80,000 a year. We'll put it that way.
And then if you're good, it can obviously extrapolate beyond that because you take between 5 and 10% of prize money.
And you get, quote, a sling.
A sling.
Yeah, a sling they give you is a bonus under various tables that they also give you.
Yeah. So I think the good jockeys, it's obviously quite lucrative. As a trainer, you just take 10% of winnings. So you got to be a good trainer.
Who is that? Wow.
But let's turn to the breeding and sales because this is where the real money is made.
This is it.
So the Magic Millions is the massive auction here in Australia.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. On the Goldie?
On the Goldie.
I just Googled wealthiest jockey in Australia.
Shitload of
Dolan?
money.
James McDonald,
McDonald,
$35 million.
Didn't he go into? Is he still riding, or did
Honestly,
he go into?
don't ask me anything beyond that Google search.
Sorry. Yeah. How much did he clear in the year?
Season 22 to 23, it says 35 million.
But that's one
Oh,
season.
wow.
Yeah, he's run 142 firsts, 123 seconds,
God.
He's not in the-
69 thirds, and has run 640 horses.
Is he Australian? He's not in Australia. He hasn't won that many in Australia. He must be moving around the world.
He's a professional jockey.
He must be going to Ascot and then Singapore. He must be touring the globe doing this. Also, where does that put him on Australia's highest earning sports people?
Well,
is he first?
Yeah, you'd think
He'd be
so.
first.
In June alone, he ran 40 races. In May, he ran 59. April, 71.
So hang on,
February.
in May he did 59 races.
Yeah, and
There's
he won
31
10 of them.
Okay, there's 31 days in May.
my
So he's
God.
averaged 2 races a day.
Yeah, well, in February, he ran 84 races.
In February,
Oh my
80, that's
God,
4 a
it's
day. That's like 3.5 a day.
Oh, my God.
I will race, but the distance must be under 6 meters. Under 6 meters, and I have to have another horse to jump straight onto.
This guy gets
This
it.
guy's never on the ground. He is never on the ground. He's either in bed or on a horse.
Do you reckon
Wow.
he even do you reckon he knows all? He's ridden some of
No.
these horses before.
He wouldn't know who these people are.
It's
No.
just like jump on this one,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. What am I wearing? He would have to do, like a stripper, he would have to have the silks, just the different, and he'd just be tearing away the silks. For-dumph, for-dumph, for-dumph.
Oh my God!
Like a model.
Wow,
He's like a model. Like a
my
model.
respect for jockeys has just gone.
No,
up
mine hasn't. I still
massively.
bought a
And
house off one of
he
the
knows how to
cheeky
do it
fuckers.
because the majority of his wins have come with prize money over 35,000. Yeah,
This is
well
the
over
guy,
majority.
J-
Oh,
Mac.
well, I mean, if you're the best,
a gangster.
you would only
You're getting all the good
run
stuff.
big
I love
races.
this guy.
Yeah.
J-Mac.
This is crazy. He
Well,
is
Can
tearing it up.
I am desperate. There's an audiobook I would listen to.
Okay.
What is it? What do you do, buddy? How are you getting these nags across the line?
Well, he is light years above second, which is a guy called Craig Williams, who, mind you, has cleared almost 20 million this year.
Craig Williams, I know. Craig Williams has been around for a while. Williams is a name I know, but the first guy, no.
Well, he's only ridden 55 this season.
Oh, so he's a bit more elite. He's a bit
third of James. James is just a numbers guy, numbers man.
more. God, I love James. This is
We should get him on the show.
When
Yeah,
we
we should.
when we
We
do
should
the
get
him on the
Netflix
show.
show of Is There Money In, we'll get James
Yeah.
on.
Wow.
well, hard to catch up. Mr. McDonald, will we have to on the? You know they use grey horses. You know the interviews at the end when they catch the jockey. They use grey horses because other horses like grey horses. You know they're always nuzzling them.
Oh.
After I read that somewhere because I was like, why are they always so into the horses? Are they on heat or they spray pheromones on them?
Yeah, right.
And apparently they like grey horses.
Wow.
Anyway, whatever. It's the opposite of Hollywood.
All right, Bryce,
So
tell
back
us.
to the breeding sales. Magic Millions sold 2,661 yearlings last year for a total value of $360 million.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the money's in actually the Magic Millions. But if you buy one of these horses to purely breed, the money is in the stud fees, which is obviously where you get a good pedigree horse and you just farm this horse out.
And
to
isn't
breed.
it you get a turn? You get a turn, but we can't guarantee pregnancy.
Absolutely.
So you just
There's
get a turn.
no guarantee.
No, you just get a turn,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let nature take its course.
So that horse that I said at the start of the episode that was bought for $70 million, the stud fee for that was $150,000 per crack.
No way.
Yeah, but the most expensive stallion ever is Galileo.
Yeah, Galileo.
Yes. So
Yeah. Have a look now. Look up Galileo. You when you see Galileo, you're like, money well spent. What have you looked at
A
Galileo?
weapon. Yeah.
What a specimen.
Yeah.
Nice looking horse.
Beautiful. Oh, look at the rump on it. Look at the veins in its legs. See the veins in its rear quarters?
Fascinating. So Galileo had a racing career from October 2000 to October 2001.
Yeah.
So 1 year. Ran 8 times and won 6.
Yeah. Couldn't be stopped.
Pretty good win rate. But it feels like they cut his racing career premature.
No. Well, maybe cut it premature.
And they were like, we know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$700,000 for a crack at Galileo
Wow.
per session, and then I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. How many
here we are.
sessions are these guys doing a year?
Come on.
This is the highbrow.
How much
They're
Galileo.
doing hundreds a year.
For Galileo.
Hundreds.
So do we have any results on, because that's 2000, so there's that's 20 years of Galileo action. Or 15 years. I know you're not going to have this, but let's for next time, let's look up the highest earning result of the Galileo breeding program.
Yeah, like the best horse.
Yeah, the best result from that.
Well, I'm fast learning that a lot of them aren't good. That's the thing. Yeah.
It's alchemy. You know what's going to happen, don't you? Our friends at AI are going to take over.
Yeah.
It's
AI in this sense,
the
in both
perfect-
sense,
the perfect
artificial
genes.
insemination and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, they're going to. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah.
Both AIs are going to come together.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we're headed with this. Those days are numbered.
Yeah.
They will not risk it. They're just not going to risk it.
Or we just go full CRISPR on horses and start gene editing.
Oh well, there's rules against that, isn't there? There's rules
Gene
against.
editing?
Yeah, there's rules against.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Or
Just to
like-
maintain the business, but more essentially.
Or like selecting like in like IVF style,
Can't do that.
inseminating a lot
Can't
of
do that either.
embryos and then
Can't do
choosing
that
one.
either.
Can't do that.
There's a rules. I'm sure I've read that there's rules against exactly that.
Yeah.
To protect this.
Yeah.
It's not for the racing. It's
the
for
industry.
this.
Yeah. So you get a horse, you race it, you don't make a lot of money if it doesn't go too well. On average, $5 or $10 a year, whatever it may be. You figure out that it's a good stud. The money's there. The I Am Invincible was the highest.
All right.
This stud was sired.
Yeah, side. Yeah.
193 times in 2022 at an average price of $220,000 per go. So that's a $42 million return for that year
Jesus.
on that horse.
Come on.
Oh my god.
So that and these studs have
It's all happening.
There's a lot of these horses there. So the highest in Australia at the moment is still I Am Invincible at 220,000, but around the world, the stud fees are ridiculous. Dubawi, which is in the UK, a stud fee of $443,000. It has had 7 individual Group 1 winners.
Okay, that's enough.
Wow.
I bet you it's injury as well. I bet you doesn't, like, whatever gets hurt on horses. I bet you that's another aspect to it. There doesn't carry the gene where they get turned
hamstrings.
hemlocks or whatever it is. I bet you any money that's part of it too.
Probably.
Lessens the risk of insert problem here.
Yeah.
Diseases.
Yeah, that type of-
yeah.
I guess like the maths is kind of simple from someone who's paying this stud fee. I'm paying $220,000 for this Australian stud. I know that I can find a syndicate that will pay $300,000 for a horse from this stud.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And the cost of looking after the horse is less than the difference there. Like, $80,000 there.
Yep.
If I can look after the horse for $40,000, I clear $40,000. That's my year done.
Well, how's this for you, Ren? There's a horse called Into Mischief over in the States. Stud fee or sire fee, $384,000. The owner then took that offspring and as a yearling sold it for $12 million.
$12 million.
Yeah.
Like the mother.
Think about the return that you need to earn for a $12 million horse.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like how many
Well,
races you
whoever
need to
bought
win.
the stud, they paid $384 for it and then sold for $12. So that they've
Yeah.
cleaned
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Who's the mother?
million.
Who is the mother? That's the other thing too.
True.
Because when you,
True.
it's the incubating of the other side as well.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
12 million.
But there are so many horses in Australia. I'm not going to read them all out, but 10s that are 10 or over 50 that are charging over $100,000 per sire, and some of them are doing up to 243 sessions a year.
We are in the
so
wrong
that is
business.
where the money
There's
is.
just like a
There's
giant
huge-
horse fucking industry.
Yeah.
Literally.
Absolutely. And here I am, just an amateur.
Huge money. Huge.
Got to leave it in. No, you have to leave it in now. I'm giving it away for free. You got to leave that in.
Leave it
You
in.
got to leave it in.
Oh my
I said it, not you.
So I just want to close
Welcome back to the second season of Is There Money?
I just want to close out, and then I've done the maths, and we can really determine if there's money
cool.
in. Obviously, there's money in gambling. On average, per capita here in Australia, we spend $1,300 US on gambling.
Wow.
Goodness.
On horse racing per capita.
On the horse racing.
Yeah, we spent $29 billion on thoroughbred horse racing.
No way.
We
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Well, we love it.
and that
Something
compares.
needs
That
to change.
compares.
Anyway, that's separate conversation.
$1,300 US per capita. That compares to the UK at 333, and the US obviously because
Yeah.
it's been outlawed for a while, but
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
$49.
$49 compared to $1,300.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that leaves us with: is there money in this? And let's go right back to if we were in a syndicate and we owned the horse.
Can I change my? I'm going to change from a 3. I'm going to go to a 6 because I think that there's enough. There's enough mugs out there, obviously, to get you to keep this thing moving and keep moving in the direction of there's money in it. I'm going to go to a 6 because I think there's absolutely money in it. The only way to not make money, it seems, is to be someone who's with your mates in a lower level syndicate. Everyone else seems to be making some money in some way.
Yeah.
So I'm a 6 now.
Okay. Ren?
No, I'm a hard one. Like, of course there is money in it, but in racing, no. Well, I mean, everything that Ed said, basically. Like, if you own a stud, you're golden. If you're a good trainer, but I imagine there's a lot of trainers that have a lot of dud horses. And I think that's the other thing. It's like, if this is a numbers game, what we haven't spoken about is all the horses that didn't make the cut. And maybe we don't. because
Yeah, no, that's all.
morbid.
Caveat being,
yeah.
it's terrible for horses. There's plenty of ethical concerns. That's the whole caveat of this is that.
I'm not even saying from an ethical point of view. I'm also just saying from a cost point of view.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, there's yes, you're right.
Like,
so
you
much
have to
worse.
factor that in when you're trying
So
to
true.
think about how profitable this is.
And you get a horse, it gets to the Melbourne Cup, it gets an injury. Sadly, they have to put it down on the field, and you're in your suit going, and that's the end.
Cash
of,
money.
Yeah, that
Kind of-
is.
it's kind of-
Do you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
is. It's
yeah.
tragic in all respects, but that is also what can happen.
Yeah.
You're dealing with live animals.
Well, on one of the large syndicate websites, they have a breakdown of how you should think
Classic.
of how you should
Course
think about
they
it.
do.
So this is
Course
what
they do.
this is what we'll close it out with.
God. Oh, actually, I've got one proposal that I want to put out
Please,
there
but
to
this-
racing. So do you want me to
Yeah,
put
you
that
go
out?
for
Yeah,
it.
And then
give
you
us
go?
something. Here we go.
Okay, so I'll look down the barrel of the camera. By the way, this is
Wow,
on YouTube.
this is big.
So no gene editing allowed in horse racing. We learnt from Ed. I propose there's 2 classes of horse racing, and much like bodybuilding has steroids and natural,
No,
we
they have steroids and better steroids.
and undetectable steroids. In horse racing, we have natural and then gene edited.
Love it.
And let's be honest, we're all going to watch the gene edited version of this sport.
And may I add, we already are friends. And if anyone wants me to come and milkshake their horse using a syringe and cobalt, I am available. I work between 2 and 3 a.m.
All right, Bryce, come back
Nice.
from that.
All right.
That works, by the way.
Big money.
That works.
So this is how they break it down. They say, let's assume over the life of your horse, which is 6 years it's running, it makes 300 grand in prize money. You get a cut of which is 83.5%. Then it gets bonus payments.
Mm-hmm.
So the total earnings over the period of the horse is 294,500. You own 5% of it. So you're getting $14,000 over the lifetime of the horse. The price of the horse is $24,000. So you paid $1,200 of that. The first year upkeep is $33,000, and then for the next 5 years, it actually increases to $42,000 a year. So you're looking at a total of $243,000. So your total costs after 6 years, $267,000. Total earnings, $294,000. So the lifetime profit for the horse is $27,500, but you only own 5%, so you walk away with $1,375. That's how they put it on the syndicate website as this is how you should think about it.
That's a good case scenario. That's an ad.
Yes, firstly, that's
an ad.
Is that also a good return over 6 years?
No, it's
off your cost
awful.
base? Yeah.
It's awful.
They are saying, but that's an admission of most of the
do
time
this.
you're going to lose your shirt.
Yeah.
The last line is, "Don't do this, whatever you do."
So
Well,
you can
far
over
out.
6 years make a 10% return.
Not per year.
No,
Not
no,
per
no.
year.
No.
Overall,
Yeah. Overall.
Yeah.
And that's based on.
But the fun that you have along the way.
Mate, do you know what?
The fun that you
You
have along
can't
the
put
way.
a price on fun, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe the syndicate website's ad should be, you're probably going to piss this money away at the bookie anyway.
True.
You're going to lose it on someone else's horse. Why not lose it on yours?
Yes.
Well, is there any money in racehorses? Probably not.
Probably not.
We'll be back.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.